Hello. Quite a complicated weather picture across Europe at the moment, as you'll see from our satellite image. Essentially what you need to know is we've got a couple of areas of low pressure linked by a weather front here sitting to the north. To the north of that weather front, colder air that will come to dominate, particularly across Scandinavia and western Russia in the days ahead. Milder air tries to squeeze into the west. It will be wet here. It will be wintry where those systems bump into the colder air ahead of them. And then further east, we've still got quite a potent area of low pressure moving its way through. Some heavy rain for the likes of Bulgaria, pushing across into Turkey on Wednesday. Still, temperatures a little higher than average across parts of Greece for the next day or so. The central Med looking at relative, I should also mention it could be quite windy to the east of the Med on Wednesday. Central Med across towards Spain and Portugal, much quieter after the heavy snowfall of late. We're looking though at some heavier snowfall for the Alps and down into the Dinaric Alps as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. Wetter weather trying to get into France, Germany and the UK with some relatively mild air, but the cold really starting to set in across Scandinavia and western Russia. So -16, -17 for Moscow, but I doubt we'll see temperatures above freezing across any parts of Scandinavia in the days ahead. As you can see, briefly milder for Paris, but some colder air here with the threat of perhaps something wintry through the weekend. Hello. In the last day or so, we've seen some particularly heavy rain adjacent to the Gulf of Mexico across southern states of the US. That low will clear for Tuesday. High pressure builds. Things become considerably drier here. Some showers do work their way through parts of the east coast. It's the Pacific Northwest, though, that's getting the worst of the wet, windy and wintry weather in the next 48 hours or so. This area of low pressure will eventually run across southern Canada, northernmost states of the US and into the northeast and pull colder air in behind it later on in the week. For Tuesday, though, it's all about the heavy, relentless coastal rains across British Columbia, but also as far south as Oregon, some very wet weather, and then we've got heavy mountain snow. The totals really adding up. We could well see some flooding for some. For the south, it remains dry across California, and if anything, some heat pushing in to Los Angeles by Thursday. For the east coast, yes, a little bit of cloud around the Great Lakes on Tuesday, but essentially a fine story. Some showers for the coast of the Carolinas as this low's pulled out of the way. However, it's looking much drier, as I said, for those areas adjacent to the Gulf. Some showers could just hang back across southern Florida in the short term. The big changes here, though, will come eventually later in the week as colder air works its way in and that low comes across from the northwest. Hello. A weather front pushing into southern Brazil, extending into Paraguay, is going to bring some relentless rain here in the days ahead. And we are anticipating the consequence of some flooding. Coming into the south of the weather front, some cool air for the time of year. We'll see below average temperatures across many parts of Paraguay, also below average temperatures across parts of Bolivia for the days ahead. The rain is looking fairly relentless across Venezuela and Colombia, and a series of small areas of low pressure pushing across Panama will also mean some high rainfall totals here. Showers fairly extensive generally across Brazil in the days ahead. There's the weather front itself trying to pull out into the South Atlantic. To the south, a reasonable amount of sunshine across Argentina, but southernmost Chile again at risk of seeing some fronts bringing in some wetter and windier weather. Looking very wet though, as you can see, and definitely on the cool side for La Paz in the days ahead. As we head further north, the tail end of an area of low pressure, which has been sitting in the Gulf of Mexico, will bring some further showers to the Yucatan Peninsula on Tuesday, some rain into parts of Cuba. We're also, as I said, expecting to see some small areas of low pressure working their way across Panama in the days ahead, so quite a lot of rain to come here. Certainly lots of cloud around for Santa Ana, and the downpours again could cause some local flooding. Hello. Yet again, in the days ahead, we're looking at some unseasonably heavy rains for parts of Botswana, Namibia, Tanzania, Mozambique. Localised flooding is possible. You can see from the way the showers shape up, though, on the satellite picture and then our forecast map that not all areas will be affected by them, but where they do develop, they will be heavy, intense and quite long-lived. Showers extending down into a good part of South Africa for Wednesday as well. Towards the west, some heat for Cape Town, though, up to 31 and I think we will see further sunshine here. But a lot of showers for Johannesburg, for Lilongwe, Harare and Lusaka through the days ahead. For Northern Africa, it is much quieter, but here we have seen some unseasonable warmth of late, particularly in the northeast. For Cairo, 27 on Wednesday, as well above average for the time of year. Temperatures starting to return to normal later on in the week. Across the Middle East, a relatively quiet scene, but this area of wet weather that will affect Turkey on Wednesday will eventually swing its way eastwards, and that rain is fairly heavy. So we're going to see some downpours coming into the likes of Syria and the Lebanon. The frontal system easing as it swings across into Iraq. So perhaps I think Baghdad staying essentially dry, but some showers on the tail end of that system possible for Kuwait. Quite a notable shamal for some in the next few days. Hello. In recent days, we've seen a number of well-defined bands of showers working their way through the southern Bay of Bengal, across Sri Lanka, into parts of Tamil Nadu, as far north as Lakshadweep, and plenty of showers across the Maldives. That is a pattern which looks set to persist in the days ahead, so further heavy rain on its way. If anything, perhaps some of the heavier rain shifting further north into Lakshadweep as we get into the middle part of the week ahead. Some localised flooding is possible in these areas. It's much clearer to the north of India, some unseasonably chilly air around here for the next couple of days. In contrast, actually across many parts of Afghanistan, and as we look towards southern Kazakhstan, it's on the mild side. A little bit of snowfall once again extending across towards the Hindu Kush. Plenty of sunshine generally across much of northern India. The showers, as we've already talked about, sitting to the south. One issue for the northeast of India in the shorter term, particularly across the likes of Assam and Meghalaya and through into Bangladesh, could be some visibility problems, some dense and lingering fog. Temperatures for Nur Sultan come up quite significantly in the days ahead. It stays mild in Kabul. There's some sunshine for both Islamabad and Delhi, but more showers on the way for Colombo. I think we could see some popping up in Chennai at times too. Hello. Yet again on our latest Asian satellite picture, we see plentiful cloud stretching across Malaysia, Indonesia and Singapore. Further heavy rainfall, heavier than we would expect at this point in the year, to come in the days ahead. The skies are by contrast much clearer across China, and as high pressure extends its way eastwards here again in the next few days, colder air will work its way in too. The chance of further snow showers across northern Japan, particularly for Hokkaido on Wednesday. A mixture of sunny spells and wintry showers as we look further south. Heavy rain though for Malaysia, for many parts of the Philippines and Singapore could mean some localised flooding in the days ahead. Certainly plenty more showers to come for Singapore and Jakarta. There is the colder air plunging its way into Seoul and Beijing as we look 5 days ahead. Temperatures are a little below average actually across parts of New South Wales in the coming days. We've got an area of low pressure sitting to the northeast of Queensland. Lots of rain on the way here, particularly intense I think through Wednesday and Thursday. By contrast, a largely dry story for both islands of New Zealand on Wednesday, but we will start to see these showers working their way northwards across the country in the days ahead. So after a few fine days for Wellington, the prospects later on in the weekend are looking increasingly showery.